I think so.
Wait a minute. See if we can get some traffic. No, I can't watch the live on here because I'm already live on another device. Why not?
Do you have your own account on TikTok?
Yeah, I do.
With Father's Day, we love celebrating.
My bad.
Okay, for real though.
We're rolling. Nobody in yet. But.
There we go.
There it is.
Yep.
All right. How we doing? Slub-a-dub 69. Let's fucking go.
All right, let's do it. Welcome to the RawDawgers Sportscast Live. I'm Sean Watson.
I'm Ryan Kessler.
Welcome in, everybody. Quick story, Ryan. I didn't really tell you about this. So, my 7-year-old is in coach pitch baseball. I am the pitcher. And I decided to go ahead and take him to the batting cages the other day.
Did you throw a gem?
I did. So I went ahead and, of course, in coach pitch, you're throwing them all kind of meatballs, and you want them to hit. You're throwing against your own players.
No screwballs?
No, I did throw a couple knuckleballs inadvertently in there, but then I went ahead and gave him the high heat.
As you should.
Brushed him back once. I told him to quit crowding the plate. He didn't listen. Brushed him back. Then I gave him a couple more, and I said, "Okay, last one, son." And I fired one in, and I whacked him right in the back right in the small of the back. So went down. He went. The distrust in his eyes.
Got to back him off the plate.
Well, he is learning. So sometimes you have to learn the hard way.
Sometimes you got to grab onto that hot stove.
Right. Anyway, one of the things when we started this podcast was, it's even in our bio. By the way, get over on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, and thank you for joining us on TikTok. A couple years back, we started this podcast, and one of our disclaimers on our YouTube channel is specifically states we will not be talking about the WNBA, but yet here we are. This is the Caitlin Clark Theory, episode 71 of the RawDawgers Sportscast. I hope everybody enjoys what we have to say here. Tap the screen on TikTok if anybody's in there. Let us know what you think. We'll put up some polls today. But we have to really deep dive on this. The whole Caitlin Clark theory is what we titled this. And I do have a theory that I'm going to kind of put out there. But first off, we want to know, what's going on in the WNBA. You have a league now that's been, 25 years in existence. They haven't been able to be profitable on their own. The NBA,
Ever.
Right. The NBA, it's well known the NBA is subsidizing that league every single year. Then along comes Caitlin Clark.
Along comes Polly.
Right. And I want to get in my theory a little bit. And whether you believe that Caitlin Clark, even along racial lines, it's the reason why people are tuned into the WNBA now more than ever, although their numbers were up last year before Caitlin Clark came to the league. Of course, ESPN just keeps
shoving it down everyone's throat.
Absolutely. So whether or not you believe that that's a real thing or not, and it's only because Caitlin Clark's white, it's not because of her skill. Although I did just see a post where she's just set a new WNBA record. After yesterday, she now has 200 points, and I can't remember how many assists. She's the most through this many games as a rookie. And she plays on the Indiana Fever, if nobody knows that. But the Indiana Fever, they've won one game, maybe two now at this point. But all this started getting back to my theory. I just want to know what anybody else might think out there. What if all of this is just a sham? What if a couple years back the NBA got with ESPN, and then McAfee's now part of that too, and decided, you know what, we're tired of paying for the WNBA. We want to make this profitable. And what better way is to make this profitable than to make this a storyline and make it down, racial lines, where you have an Iowa player, white Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese going up in her face, against her in the national championship 2 years ago. Then Caitlin Clark gets the best of her in the semifinal this year. And they just decide, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and just start pushing this shit out there. And it's going to make it like a WWE thing.
Well, it's like Bird and Magic back in the day.
Right. Although, getting into the Bird and Magic, you and I have watched the documentaries on that. Of course, I watched that as a kid, so the Larry Bird Magic, some of those finals. But I
tape delayed.
Yeah, probably. But
watching it at 3 p.m. on a Sunday.
The ABA and then going into the NBA, there's a lot of people they weren't that hyped about it, and just like you said, there's a lot of tape delays there. And then you had Larry Bird coming out of the Indiana State Sycamores, Magic Johnson with the Michigan State, 1979, and then they go and they get drafted by Boston and the Lakers, two franchises that are. It probably couldn't have been a better two franchises that picked up each player.
Right.
But a lot of people believe, and I do too, that they were kind of the savior of the NBA at the time.
Oh yeah.
And is the WNBA, are they trying to make history repeat itself? Or is ESPN and is all of this just fugazi, if you will? Fugazi. Is it all just a put on? Just to drum up
No,
shit?
because it's women, and this is how they act when one of them's doing better than the rest of them.
So basically, it just comes down to their nature,
Yeah.
and they're just catty in this respect. And if that's the case,
But not
Why
saying
are
that
you
the WNBA isn't loving it.
mm-hmm.
I
But
mean,
then why are they-
nothing sparks viewership more than division.
yeah. So I guess my point to that is, if that is the case, and this really isn't a put on, are you saying that women, for the most part, can't see down the road and say, hey, Caitlin Clark, regardless if she's black, white, yellow, orange, whatever she is, she's going to make our league better?
Well, and I think that the ego is, it's not, they really believe it's not her.
Right.
So they're gonna, bite their nose to spite their face.
Right. Well, that's good. Play that clip from Angel Reese that was actually we just had, where she's basically talking to the media and deciding that it's not just one player, and that is drumming up all
That has
this
sparked all of this interest all of a sudden.
interest in the WNBA.
It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that, because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
All right, so that's all well and good. Just like you said, it's the ego.
Yeah. How about we? Well, if they were actually being like smart about this and being appreciative and just none of this was in the news, it would probably hurt the league.
Yeah.
So I mean, to an extent, I think this is probably the best thing for the WNBA is them being dumb and there being rivalries and
that goes back to my whole theory that I was saying: is this just put on? Are they just bringing all this up? Is it just a big?
I don't think it's put on. I just think they're dumb enough to think that, if Caitlin Clark fails, that the league is going to continue to be have eyeballs on it.
It's gonna,
and it won't.
Right. Agree.
It'll fade off and
which really
in the next season.
Yeah, and it really profitability wise, it's been fading off for quite a while.
Did it ever start?
No. I mean, the fact that this league, this is a great comparison. How is it possible that you've had like leagues like the USFL, European Football League, World League, the XFL that continue to fail, but yet the WNBA has made it 25 years? I mean, how is that possible? Because they're not filling arenas. I mean, I'm talking about before this year. They're not filling arenas. Nobody's buying the merchandise. You don't hear anybody outside of ESPN really talking about it.
I've never seen a WNBA jersey on a single person in my entire life.
Correct. And the young girls that should be the fans and their parents of younger girls that are early into basketball, they aren't buying the merchandise. They're not going to the games. They're not filling the arenas before this year. So the difference is that the NBA has had to supplement this league where the NFL wasn't supplementing the XFL or USFL or whatever. It wasn't doing any of that because they look at it as a competitor.
Right.
Where
the NFL's
the NBA
king,
doesn't.
so.
It true. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. That's the biggest thing is they don't have they're not giving them any money.
No. Well, and I think that's a detriment to the NFL, honestly. I think that because it's not really competition when they're not even playing at the same time. Mm-hmm. I think it's good for the sport and good for to have a kind of a pipeline of players that could be NFL players,
right,
to give them some tape and not have to, play in Canada or somewhere else that they'll never get eyes on. So,
but once again, though, if you're going like you said, the NFL's king, they don't really have to do that.
Yeah, they don't have to. They do whatever the fuck they want.
They do whatever the hell they want to do. I mean, they're like the NFL's bigger than the government. I mean, I shouldn't say bigger than the government, but I mean they're right there. I mean, as far as corporations.
Oh, they could get someone killed really quick.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure.
Just ask Bob Kraft.
The other thing is too happened. Caitlin Clark's just been taking a bunch of shots, and I understand all the rookie hazing a little bit. I mean, you could probably see in some other sports. It's not
really hazing when they're trucking the fuck out of her.
Right, and it's not just one team. No. Earlier this week,
they're guarding her like it's Game 7 of the finals every time she touches the ball.
Kennedy Carter, spelled Chenedy.
Chenedy. Yeah.
Chenedy goes ahead. Gives her a cheap shot. Well, one of Angel Reese's teammates when they were playing the Chicago Sky the other night. Then it wasn't until like 24 hours later that the WNBA decided to go ahead and make that a flagrant one. After the game. That's a problem.
What does that even do?
Exactly, because it's not affecting the game during the game itself.
Yeah, and they're poorly officiating all of it.
Yes. Even McAfee
now
was all over that.
That I could say is definitely them putting something on. That's them. We want this to be talked about.
Right.
Any press is good press in their eyes at this point.
Right. Well, and the other thing is, too, so I want to get into some of what Angel Reese... Well, let's go ahead and get in this Joy Taylor bit right here. Whether, you like Joy Taylor or don't.
I'd like her to sit on my face.
Oh, I don't know if you can say that on live, but... We should put that as a poll. Where should Joy Taylor be? At a desk or on my face?
That's fucking pull for sure.
She's not wrong. You said it's polarizing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What does the definition of polarizing mean? It means there's one side or the other, right? If it's not polarizing, it's just a cheeky conversation. Polarization requires debate, requires passion. People feel very strongly about opinions. They want to argue one side or the other. How did that happen? How did we get here? What she just said, the national championship game. We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before Angel Reese walked up to her, did this, and pointed to the ring. This is not my opinion. I lived it. I watched it. It was recorded. It was broadcasted live. We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before that moment. And that's okay, because you can be extremely talented and not interesting. There are a lot of extremely talented athletes and games and series and sports that we don't talk about daily on this show because the public has not shown enough interest in them. That moment launched their careers. And when we started talking about it, I said it then, and it has all played out as I said it would. Well, I didn't know they were going to match up again in the tournament. That kind of broke my way. But this is Bird and Magic. It's not a perfect comp, but it is the path in which launched this conversation, this polarizing conversation that has everyone captivated. Sometimes something interesting has to happen that sparks an interest, that brings attention. Did Caitlin earn the attention by being a great player? Yes. Was Angel Reese in her face doing that because she was winning a national championship, which Caitlin was not doing? Yes. They both needed each other in that moment. It created the conversation. And then, as I said it would, it launched a great platform for this year's tournament, which was very heavily watched, the most ever. And Caitlin came back better than she was the year before. And LSU was good again. And then they matched up again. And then Iowa won this time. And then they both went into the draft, and now they are both in the WNBA, and we care about both of these players. There are a lot of people that care about Angel Reese. That doesn't mean she's as good as Caitlin Clark. It also doesn't mean that what she's saying is not true, because multiple things can be true at the same time. Everything in life is not existing in a vacuum. Just because she said this does not mean that Caitlin Clark is not great and that people are not watching because Caitlin Clark is great. All she is saying is, and she is factually correct, the two needed each other. She was a part of that. And it's inarguable because that is what happened. We were not talking about Caitlin Clark on these shows. We were not debating women's sports and women's basketball on these shows before that moment happened. So what she's saying is true. And multiple things can be true at the same time.
Now, I have a bit of... I agree partially with what Joy Taylor was saying there, but if you bring this graphic up and you're talking about the attendance or the attendees, yes, of the different teams, as you can see, the Indiana Fever is way up on top, and the Chicago Sky, what are they, about 6, 7, 8 down? Somewhere in that neighborhood?
Yeah, 8th, I think.
Okay. So, going back to also what Angel...
Half the attendance. Yeah.
Going back to what Angel Reese... And I'd venture to say that the game that happened the other night with the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky, that was probably the biggest attended game for Chicago Sky this year. I couldn't find that number, but I would venture to say that was probably the case.
There was like 23,000, I think, there. Or something,
yeah, for that game?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
I think,
all right.
I think I've seen something on Twitter on that.
So, which was probably the biggest game that Chicago Sky had this year. So, I mean, I understand a bit of what Joy Taylor's saying and how it's all stemmed back into college, but you know what? Women's college basketball, are you trying to tell me there hasn't been rivalries in women's college basketball? There's been ones that nobody even give a shit about.
Yeah, probably UConn and fucking Tennessee.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's nothing that's translated over to the WNBA.
No. And
I understand what she's saying there, but would there really be... Caitlin Clark doesn't need Angel Reese. Okay?
No, it's just another...
It's just another player.
Yeah,
another WNBA player.
Right.
And going back to the whole thing with Bird and Magic, maybe it is because Caitlin Clark's white. Have they turned on, the whole thing with...
Well, we have no sports left, other than hockey, so...
All right. Well, the real NBA finals is going on, but...
I just think that Caitlin Clark is the first person that is like kind of, sort of manageable to watch
Right.
on the women's game. She brings a new element, they don't have like legitimate scorers in that league.
Right.
So,
Where she is, true.
Right. So, they're gonna have to squeeze every bit of what they can out of her, because I don't, till there's someone else like that pops in the league.
Right.
They're, that's all they got.
But if you keep having the WNBA refs doing what they're doing, and you keep having the other WNBA players doing what they're doing,
yeah, they have to
they got to back off.
mitigate that at some point.
Right. And then, of course, if the WNBA commission, whoever that may be, I don't know who the commissioner is, and I don't care, steps in, then that's going to be the new high point of the media. And they're just to say, oh, look, the WNBA commission's coming in to save, old white Caitlin Clark again.
Right.
So, I mean, she's really like in a no-win situation.
Oh, no. I mean, I don't feel bad for Caitlin Clark either. I mean,
I don't feel bad for her.
she's making plenty of money playing 20 games a year.
I mean, she got, plus she got that $28 million Nike shoe deal, which that right there made the other WNBA players super jealous.
Well, and who's buying those shoes?
I don't know. Once again, do you get a free pair if you buy a WNBA jersey that we never see? I don't know.
Yeah, like, what kind of investment is that? Are people really buying those shoes? They can't be. I mean, maybe girls who play basketball would be buying them, but.
Well, here's the other thing. I always trust corporate America to be greedy, and if they see that there's
the whole woke shit.
True, but if they see that there's profit to be made, you got Nike coming out of the woodwork and they're offering this girl this $28 million shoe deal. You better follow the money because they know what the hell they're doing. It is Nike.
Well, now that $28 million to them, that's a write-off.
Okay.
So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, all right.
And they get the good PR for.
Sure.
I mean, because how many fucking shoe deals has anybody had in the WNBA? Maybe that Tarazi chick.
Well, so Angel Reese also got one for Reebok. They're throwing a big stink about it, and she got one of the Reebok. The problem is that Caitlin Clark is shopping for a new house out around Indiana with her Nike shoe money.
Right.
Where Angel Reese has to barely make a rent with her Reebok deal in Chicago. And it's a Chicago skyrise somewhere.
Well, yeah, she's probably making like $75,000 a year or something.
Yeah, well, the rookie salary's capped at like $80,000 a year, so they don't care about that. I mean, Caitlin Clark still had some of that stuff that was leaking over from some of the NIL money that she had going on, which kind of blew my mind.
Yeah,
which also explains why, we talked about, Ice Cube and wanting to give her that the big three deal and the $5 million. I could see some of her sponsors saying, "Oh no, don't do that because we got a lot more money coming your way if you just continue doing what you're doing."
Right. Well, and she would. I wish she would have went to the big three. That would have been fucking.
It would have been great. It would have been great. It would have been great TV.
It would have been, over under 1 point.
Right.
Just getting fucking her shit sent.
Yes.
Those dudes play physical as fuck.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know. Anyway, also going back to the whole Kennedy Carter deal, Kennedy. Yeah. She refused to speak on the post-flagrant foul post-game of that Chicago Sky Indiana game. What do you think? I mean, is she going to continue to see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it going to be is it going to make that storyline?
They're going to want to ride this out at least for this year.
Right.
And who the fuck knows who's in the next draft class? Anyone that would be.
Right.
I mean, they got to, like I said, they got to squeeze this lemon for all its juice.
Right. I like it. All right.
Hopefully they can become at least not if they're not profitable, at least they can start generating enough to be
Sure.
even.
Right.
But I mean, these players, they got to realize like they need to like year after year so they can actually bargain for some more freaking money. But the league's got to make money first.
Sure.
Because I mean, $80,000 a year to be a professional sports.
It's not bad.
I mean, it's not bad, but it's also kind of shitty.
You know what would be interesting? I just thought about this. Like, what do you think a professional highlight player makes? Or
Professional what?
highlight.
Highlight.
Yeah. Yeah, JAI, highlight, with the gigantic wicker mitts.
No.
Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Cricket.
Yeah, they make fucking money.
Snooker.
Dude, those cricket players make fucking money.
Okay. It'd be interesting to see what they're getting paid per year versus what Caitlin Clark's getting paid for the WNBA.
They're making millions, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but they don't have a shoe deal, do they?
They probably have other deals. Because for whatever reason, people like that shit over in Britain.
Well, that's because they call it bowling.
Yeah, yeah.
Bowling.
To the batter or whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. All right, let's move on. What other poll did we have? Oh, yeah, let's put that poll up. What was it? It's Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, right?
Yeah.
Who is... Man, I can't really read it.
Who was saving the WNBA?
Yeah. Tell us what you guys think. Other? NBA. You probably should have put on that. NBA continuous.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Adam Silver.
Right.
Is Caitlin Clark going to make the WNBA profitable from here on out? I don't know.
They have to make a lot more fucking money than they're making now.
Right.
I don't get it. I don't understand how the NBA just likes to be nice. I mean, that's obviously they make enough money where it doesn't really matter, but
Right.
I'm sure, like you said, at some point they want to see some dollar signs.
Sure. All right. Let's go ahead and get into another basketball league, the actual profitable one, the NBA. Game 1. Watched this the other night. I'm pulling for the Mavericks. I mean, I have to say, pulling for the Mavs. I was really, to back it up a little bit, I was really surprised that they took care of Minnesota 4-1 in the Western Conference Finals. They had it go. Yeah, they definitely had it going on. But going back to Game 1 of the NBA Finals, wow! I mean, they just went out and smoked. I think that the Celtics outscored the Mavericks like 32-23 in the first quarter alone. And I have to say that I think that Kristaps Porzingis coming back from his 28-day sabbatical with his calf injury is something that is making it difficult for the Mavericks, at least in Game 1. And I don't know what Jason Kidd's going to do as far as how he's going to combat this come Game 2 tomorrow night. But Porzingis, just down there, he ended up, I think, with 21 points. Just, it seemed like they had no answer for him. And then he still only played like maybe half the game. And the Mavericks, at one point, I think, or the Celtics, I'm sorry. The Celtics at one point were like ahead by 26. And the Mavericks closed it out. And that's kind of the Mavericks' MO, is they really started to get hot in the second half. And what we saw in the last series was Kyrie and Luka both were hot together.
Yeah.
Where Kyrie went 0 for 5 in Game 1 of this NBA Finals. Of course, being back in Boston, there was just nothing but boos. Understandable. But he definitely wasn't hot. And Porzingis, though, I don't know. I mean, what do you think they're going to have to do as far as having Porzingis in there? Because Daniel Gafford, love that guy. Derek Lively, a rookie out of Duke. They're rotating those guys in and out. Lively got in foul trouble, though, like in the second half. He had 4 fouls inside of like a quarter and a half.
I mean, Porzingis is a hell of a guy to pop in.
He is. Especially
for
fresh.
the finals. Yeah.
Because you got to think of like
that's
now.
A 7-2, 7-3 stretch 5.
The guy, and he can hit threes, which he did in game 1. And whenever I think about a major NBA game, I always try to line the players up.
Right.
Like, okay, who's the best player on the Celtics? Going into this game right now after game 1, I might say Kristaps Porzingis, and then the best player on the Mavericks is Luka. So who's the best? Who's the best between those two? I would have said probably Jason Tatum, although Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, it can be 1 and 1A there.
Right.
I mean, because if one guy's not getting it going, the other guy can get it going. And I think the other thing is Porzingis also causes a problem for them because we saw it in game 1 where if they're not able to take care of him, you have to put extra help on Porzingis, and it's opening up their wing shooters. And the other night, Celtics they had the advantage of that.
Well, they're the best 3-point shooting team in the league, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
In the regular season?
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas is going to have to – they're going to have to hope that Kyrie plays the way that he's usually played in big games.
Right.
For them to really have a chance. That you're going to need probably 65-plus points from Luka and Kyrie for them to have a shot.
Which is what they were getting in the Western Conference Finals.
They both really need to be around 30, 35.
Right.
Defensively, they're just going to have to play as tight as possible and hope that, Boston has a couple off-night shooting. But if they can keep it close in the fourth quarter, I think they're the better closers.
Yeah.
With Kyrie.
I agree with you. Best closing backcourt in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of agree with that.
And as good as Tatum and Brown are, that's not really their MO, at least not at this point in their careers.
No.
So as long as they can keep it close. I kind of felt that Boston was going to take their first 2 at home. But if they can steal one, Boston usually doesn't play well in game 2s.
Yeah.
Historically, this would be the time to do it. If you can go home, with that home court advantage, it'll definitely make it interesting. But I think you're seeing why Boston won 60-some games this year.
Right. Well, and the other thing is, too, going back to, lining up the best players from each team, Boston with Kristaps Porzingis coming back, they almost have a big 3 there where Dallas,
they have
only has
a big 5.
Yeah. Well, when you're talking about the big stars, though, you have Derek White and Pritchard.
Al Horford's.
Hauser's hitting threes. Al Horford, but Al Horford's older. I mean, the experience is great. I mean, but if I'm saying there's a big 3 with Boston, it's Porzingis and Tatum and Brown versus, you got Kyrie and Luka on the other side.
Right.
Where that 5 spot, just like you're talking about, and Gafford's great. I mean, there was one game in the Western Conference Finals, he had 5 blocks. I mean, he was good for at least a block a game, usually 2.
The Porzingis factor is huge.
Yeah.
If he was out of this series,
it's definitely different.
Yeah.
And him coming in super fresh, I think, after that 28-day stint where he didn't have to play, it could make all the difference. But
just him being there, honestly.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think Jason Kidd, what he needs to do in this game too is you need to somehow let Kyrie go to the hole, get it down.
They need to slow it down as much as possible.
Well,
too,
either slow it down or try to get Porzingis in foul trouble.
Yeah.
And get him out of the game.
Right.
Get him out of the game and make Hal Horford have to play the 5.
Yeah, because he's kind of a defensive liability at this point in his career.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's the only way I think that you're going to be able to.
Consistently.
Yeah, I agree with you. Slow the game down, but make sure you take Porzingis out of the game, although he only played half the minutes in game 1. All the damage was done in the first quarter. And although Dallas went ahead and got within 8 points in the second half, they were never able to get past that.
Right.
And the Celtics still came out and, knocked it down. So where they were playing Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals. Minnesota, one of the fastest defenses I've seen in a long time. Very, very good defensive team. But as far as like their wing type shooters, the Celtics are just super loaded on that end. So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, what do you go into game 2 if you're Jason Kidd? I mean, what do you go in there and what's your strategy? Slow it down, right? We're in agreement with that.
Yep.
So are you going to have to keep the Celtics under 100 to have a shot to win?
I'd say under 110.
Okay. All right.
10 years ago, I'd say under 100, but I think Dallas is good for, 110, 115 points.
Yeah.
Even in a half court, heavy game. Because I just mean slow it down so you're not running on defense as much. Because I think, even depth-wise with Boston, I think they kind of have the edge there as well, even though Dallas does have a pretty good bench.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to end up being a really good series. I don't think this is going to be over in 4 or 5.
I wouldn't think so.
I could see it being over in 6.
I mean, if the Pacers got swept, and quite honestly,
Shouldn't have.
No, the Pacers had chances
2 of those
to win,
games
at least
should have
2,
been,
if not 3.
Right.
2 for sure, including game 1,
Yeah.
where Halliburton dribbled it off his foot to give the possession back to Boston. I mean, that was their chance right there. If they would have somehow won game 1,
That's a whole different series.
might have been completely different.
Yeah.
So, and then of course Halliburton, going
Got
out,
banged up. And,
going out, in game 3, and he was asked in game 4. But actually, I thought the Pacers actually might have played better without Halliburton in there. But there's only so much that guy is going to be able to do.
Well, and out of everybody in the playoffs that I've watched, he's like one of the most underwhelming stars on a team that I've watched. I mean, he's still young. Could definitely improve, but
Right. Welcome in everybody over there on TikTok. I see you guys going in and out. Let us know where we're right. Let us know where we're wrong. Get in the comments. Tap the screen. Share our live. Please share our live. We appreciate that. Anybody that's in there. So let's go ahead and let's pivot over to the NFL a little bit. Of course, we're big Browns fans here, if nobody can tell. But
shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Browns OTAs wrapping up this week, right?
yes.
I saw a little video there of DeJuan Jones looking good, looking like an absolute fucking hammer.
And he's working right beside Teller, so I think that gets
It. I also saw a video of Vrabel out there directing traffic.
looks good with orange brown on, doesn't it?
Looks very, very good. I want to make this point too. How good does it feel to know that you basically have 3 head coaches in the building now?
At least 3.
Yeah.
At least 3.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Former both, but is there another NFL team that's got that going on? I mean, I'm trying to think about it right now. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Dallas, maybe.
Dallas. Well,
Who's their D coordinator? Is Quinn not there anymore?
yeah. Quinn went to Washington.
Okay. So maybe not them anymore.
I just think that's just an absolute stacked fucking coaching room
Yeah.
that we have going on in Cleveland. So
Yep. And excuse me. And use it wisely because I doubt he's going to be here next year.
right.
That guy's going to have a job somewhere. But no, that's a huge hire. I've heard nothing but good things, chemistry-wise with the coaching staff. Him and Kev. I mean, obviously, I think Kevin's got all the confidence in the world for his. I don't think he's ever, to this point, been afraid about losing his job. Maybe 2021 was a little sketchy, but
Right. Well, it's a great point. Let's go ahead and switch on to that. Andrew Berry, the GM of the Cleveland Browns, and Stefanski both got extensions this week. What is that? Was it a 4-year deal? Is that what it came out
for
to?
both, yeah.
Okay, 4-year deal for both. So apparently, Housing Sports Group likes the direction the Browns are going. And as a fan, have you had this much consistency? Even though if you would say that you feel like it's been a little bit underwhelming. You know, I know with the injuries to Watson and stuff, we're going to let that pan out. I'm in agreement with you, and I've talked to you about this. I'm all about Watson this year, but after this year, it's got to be there.
That's your
To
three.
me, it's got to be there. You know,
He's got to be
suspensions
he's got to be
are
at least
gone.
a top 10
Yeah.
quarterback.
And can he get back to that form? You know, we hope so.
I have pretty good faith that he will.
Okay.
I mean, he was last 3 games he played last year healthy. He looked pretty damn good to me.
Did it merit the extension for you?
Yeah, I don't know why it took this long.
Okay.
Honestly,
All right.
you had 5 different starting quarterbacks last year. You went 11-6. Could have went 12-5 easily if it wasn't for a couple things going this way and going. Didn't play our starters the last week of the season.
Right.
Because we were so fucking banged up.
Yeah.
At that point, obviously the job that was done in 2020, winning a playoff game, dealing with all the COVID bullshit. Seems like the players are all on board on this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of seems to me like there's a good relationship with the coaching staff and the players there. We're going to see how this Ken Dorsey thing works out. I think that'll work out for the better. I'm 31, never been this confident in the Browns front office team
Right.
in general.
And long gone are the days of, at least we hope, long gone are the days of, the Browns, the constant carousel of the coaches.
Yeah.
We don't want to see
going
that
into year
anymore.
5.
We don't want to see that anymore.
Right.
So if nothing else, as a fan, we want to see Stefanski succeed and Andrew Berry succeed. And apparently Haslam's believe that they're going to continue to do what they're doing, regardless of what happens with the Watson situation. It always seems like Berry is out there playing chess instead of checkers. He's making moves,
And
trying to get out in front of
I
stuff.
think he's the right amount of aggressive and the right amount of thoughtful.
Conservative.
Well, not even that. Just like, I think we had a discussion on the Jerry Jeudy contract.
Which I just still kind of disagree with you on that. Little
Which is
bit. And
fine.
that's fine.
We had the same conversation with the David Njoku contract.
We
that
did.
worked out
And
very
it
well.
did. And you're right. It worked out for us.
And to me,
And I hope it does.
where the numbers at, if he burns out and does nothing, it's not going to kill him. So you locked him in for 3 years. If he ends up being what he was supposed to be coming out of college, it's going to be the biggest steal
Sure.
of this year's free agency.
Agreed.
So I like those moves. Sometimes you have to have faith in what you want, and obviously they've been trying to get Jerry Jeudy for 2 years, so that there's obviously something there. Getting Amari Cooper for a bag of potato chips basically was obviously amazing. He's done nothing but played the best football of his entire career since he's been in Cleveland. When there's something wrong with the team roster-wise, it gets fixed in the offseason. First offseason they were here, he fixed the offensive line. Second offseason we added some defensive pieces. And, we all know what happened that year. But, fielded a very competitive team. We were in the playoff hunt for the whole year. And then 2022, our D-line was shit. And now it's one of the best defensive lines
Right.
in the league.
Right.
So, has it been perfect? No, but I think you have a young GM and a young coach that has shown that they can win at a high level, and I'm never been as excited or as confident as a Cleveland Browns fan in my entire life on the direction of the organization.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, I like it. I like all of it. And all these people that are talking about, the Flacco, and I loved it. I love what Flacco did at the end of the year.
Well, like I said, they were 7-3.
But if Watson can just play even 25% better than that as our starter
take care of the ball, and then I think
without
you're good.
injury,
Yeah.
we're good. You're going to have that 12-5 season.
Yeah, I mean, you have at least a top 5 defense,
Right.
if not top 3 best defense in the league.
Right.
And, also, seems to me that Nick Chubb has been doing great in his rehab.
I did see him come to the podium the other day. Yeah.
They're not going to put a timetable on it, but if I'm going to bet on anyone, it's going to be on Nick Chubb playing week 1. Now, he might be on a pitch count, which I would assume, first week back. But I think he's going to be back sooner than later, which is, and I do think also a lot of underrated moves that happened this offseason was what they built in the running back room.
Yeah, agreed.
A lot of depth there. Some more experienced depth at running back.
And I think I brought this up before. I mean, I watched Deontay Foreman when he was at Carolina.
Bull in a china shop.
Yeah. I saw him in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to be missing Kareem Hunt. I think you're going to be
Kareem Hunt right there.
Excited, but a lot younger.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be excited to see what Deontay
and don't have to worry about him drop kicking chicks in the offseason. So, I love Kareem though.
And the fact that the Browns, Andrew Berry and the Browns, they didn't go out and draft a running back, which we all thought that maybe they would.
I thought maybe they would, but I think you probably see it next year.
Yeah, and that's fine. But that
I still think Chubb has another 3 years of high quality seasons under his belt, at least. Right.
We're hoping. We're all hoping.
Yeah.
Because that just opens everything up. It makes Watson's job a lot easier.
Well, and he's not going to demand the highest paid running back contract in the league either.
No. And then if you have that, and then if Jerry Jeudy plays the way that we all hope, it's going to take more heat off of Amari Cooper,
Elijah Moore and Njoku.
With an aging, but Njoku, like you said, coming off a Pro Bowl season. And then if you just open that up and you got Watson back, if Chubb's there, Deontay Foreman, whoever. I mean, Jerome Ford, it was okay.
Yeah, but he's not.
But I think Deontay Foreman's going to be a lot better back. Yeah. He's just going to be a better back. That's all there is to it. So, all right.
And that's, let's see if Ford even makes the roster, obviously.
Yeah, because we don't know now at this point. So, anything else coming out of the Browns OTAs that you really kind of wanted to talk about? Or
I mean, and again, with Watson's rehab, he's looked really good. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he's got 100% velocity back.
Good.
The video I've seen, it seems like he's hitting people in stride. Kind of looks like himself again.
Okay.
Just a lot of good vibes coming out of OTAs. So not a lot of BS behind the scenes or anything like that. I think it's going to be one of the more quiet off seasons in Cleveland for the first time in a minute. So.
Well, I did also see where Jameis Winston took a snap there, and Denzel Ward broke it up. Greg Newsome picked it off, ran it back. Yeah. So,
7 on 7s, yeah.
Jameis being Jameis.
Fucking love it. Slinging it. But, I mean, we'll see if he makes the roster because they went and got Lamar Jackson 2.0. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I think I would trust Jameis a little bit more than the Pro Bowler, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens there.
Probably the lowest paid Pro Bowl quarterback in the league.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Speaking of NFL, I want to get on this a little bit. Apparently, Josh Jacobs, newly acquired from the Green Bay Packers in the offseason, running back, Pro Bowl style running back, was the bell cow for the Raiders. He came out on a podcast. I can't remember who he had a podcast with earlier this week, touting about the game that's going to occur in Brazil. So week 1 of the NFL, and the Browns were kind of on this. The Browns were they were talking about how the Browns might be, and we talked about it too, might be one of those 4 teams that get picked. The Eagles are definitely in. So there's 3 other teams that were going to get picked. Well, it ended up being the Green Bay Packers. Josh Jacobs came out earlier this week and was talking about on his podcast how they can't wear green down in Sao Paulo, Brazil, because of all the gangs there. And I don't know if this is like a Crips versus Blood situation. Who would have known? I mean, who would have known what was happening? I was going to say, that's good though. So the Eagles and the Packers have come out with new jerseys or new uniforms to wear down for the Brazil game. Green Bay in all Kevlar there. And the Eagles kind of not really a green, just kind of a fatigue type green. Kind of looks like they stepped out of Starship Troopers, maybe. Not really sure, but anyway, come to find out, the NFL put the nix on this right away. Out on Instagram, Josh Jacobs made an apology, saying that he wasn't aware. He was getting bad information. That there was.
He probably got threatened by the freaking cartels down there.
Yeah, probably. And, yeah, that's also part of the NFL.
Right.
Like, yeah, you need to shut your face. Okay, that we're trying to expand down to Brazil, down on Pele country, and quit.
Right. We don't want to piss off all the people that's washing our money.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, what do you think about that? What you think that's going to be uniforms coming out? That's the opening game, right? Friday night, week 1.
Well, the opening games will be Thursday. Then that's,
Thursday, and then they're going to have a special. That's right, special game.
Isn't it Sunday night football on Friday or something like that?
Yeah, oh yeah. You know they do that dumb shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, Tom Brady's not going to announce that one, right?
No, he'll be in Cleveland week 1.
Fuck, my luck's changing for the better every day. Fuck that guy.
But like I said, we were talking about earlier, if there's anybody that can have fucking protection for their employees, it's going to be the NFL. They're probably going to be rolling up in like fucking armored vehicles, and
it's going to look like the new Tesla truck coming out there.
Yeah, well, and that's not going to be on the. They're not going to have that taped. It's all hunky dory in fucking Brazil. You know what I mean? So
will Roger Goodell make an appearance at this?
His body double will.
This current. The Corinthians. Yeah. What is it? The Corinthians, a soccer stadium that they're playing in, apparently. So
it's named Corinthians.
Yeah, Corinthians. Yeah, they have a bit of a biblical stigma there, I guess.
That's. Can definitely
the
see.
Sao Paulo Corinthians. I don't know. I mean, it's Corinthian Stadium is what I read about it, but don't know what's going to happen there. Well, just everybody, if you go to Brazil, come to visit Rio, go to Paulo because you're dead. That's all I can say. So. You all right over there?
Yeah.
No, that's fine. All right. We want to get into our Crying Jordan segment here a little bit. This is our patent segment. Everybody on TikTok, all 2 of you. If you want to go ahead, you definitely want to stick around and share this portion of our podcast. We started this Crying Jordan segment, and it's basically, if you're not familiar with Crying Jordan, it's basically one of the greatest memes ever across the internet, dark web, whatever you want to call it, where you basically just give people nominations because of some of the dumb shit they've done in sports this week. So without further ado, Ryan, do you want to kick us off? Or
Sure.
All right.
I am going to go with the legend. Where is Karl Malone?
I love the fact that he looks like Teen Wolf in the Trailblazers.
I do like those old Blazers unis, though.
I do. I do like the fact in Game 1 of the Finals, though, they had all the Boston players in their warm-up. They had the Walton.
Did he just win 1 title there, or was it 2?
I can't
Because he got there in, 86, 85, something like that?
It might even be... Yeah, it might have been before that. I don't remember. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was definitely early.
Because wasn't it the last title that they won in the 80s? Wasn't it 86?
Yes.
Because it was 81, 83.
And then the Lakers, I think the Lakers took 2 years in a row.
Yeah, Lakers won 5 in that decade.
Well, they won early on, and then the Celtics had a run in there with Bird. And then, I think you're right.
Well, there in the late 80s at Showtime, they beat Detroit once, and they lost to Detroit.
Then, yes, Detroit went on. They went on to win, and the Lakers, way past their prime,
played the
went
Bulls,
out against the Bulls,
which was the 90s. But
the famous, the famous.
it was without Kareem.
Yeah, the famous left-handed. The Lakers are way past their prime at that point, too. So, I mean, the Lakers were lucky to get there.
Yeah, this
And
was
then he just
like
got
right
trounced.
when Magic got AIDS.
Right, and let's not forget, that Michael Jordan, that was his first title. Let's not forget that it was a way over-the-hill Lakers team. And, whatever you feel about that. But
Yeah, and, he beat, a 48-win Pistons team?
yeah,
That was broken down.
They were getting, yes, but that's true. They were broken down too. But before that, Jordan wasn't getting past the Celtics or the Pistons in the playoffs.
Right,
So let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
People have the Jordan guys, the Slurpers. They have a tendency to forget that Jordan had 7 years in the league before Pippen. That he kept getting bounced in the playoffs before any possible Game 7 that he might have faced in the finals because he never made the fucking finals.
Right.
Whatever. Fuck you guys.
And then got to play fucking Clyde Drexler and Charles Barkley. So, great fucking series. And then,
Anyway,
Gary
Bill-
Payton and fucking Sean Kemp.
I mean, that was a shocker when I saw it come across the ESPN headline.
Yeah.
I mean, rip Bill.
I didn't know he was sick.
Bill Walton. I didn't either. Prostate cancer, wasn't it? Wasn't that what it was? Or
yeah, probably.
yeah.
God, that just made me hurt a little bit. But
Apparently,
was one of my-
peyote is not a natural cure for prostate cancer.
Well, he was definitely, growing up, when he would call games, it was a little more enjoyable than the
Sure.
regular cast of characters that they would have
Yeah.
calling games. I think, was he on, obviously he did ESPN, but didn't they do was it Saturday Night Basketball or something he would be on one of the games every weekend or something like
Right.
that. So always liked when he was part of those teams.
It was always great. They show a lot of the commentators now, sideline. Fuck Doris Burke, by the way. But they always show a lot of the commentators. But I think that really kind of started with Bill Walton because, whoever he was with, whether it be Marv Albert, before he started groping women, they panned to the sidelines because they wanted to see the shock that what Bill Walton was about to say or
Where's
do.
Karl Malone?
Where's Karl? So, I mean, rip Bill Walton. I mean, crying Jordan, yes. But, I mean, the guy he touted the fact that he went to 1,000 Grateful Dead concerts.
I love that.
Holy shit. I didn't know the Grateful Dead had 1,000 concerts.
That man has smoked enough weed to get the entire state of California.
Look
high.
at me.
Look at me.
We should just go out in nature. Smoke some teepee. We'll get in my teepee and just, smoke some of that peyote.
Go out and meet the body, Robin Ventura.
I saw Jerry Garcia over 1,000 times.
It was the first time I smelled meth. And I gotta tell you.
So, rip Bill Walton. All right. I'm going to go on to mine. Bring my one up here of, it's got to be, one of mine is definitely Angel Reese for touting the bullshit. Oh, yeah. It's because of Me Too, which is kind of ironic because the Me Too movement, but it's not. It's not because of you. All right, stop. I'm not saying you're not a great player. I watched some of your shit with LSU, but you're not making the WNBA possibly profitable.
No.
Okay, and if you want to take on the villain role, so be it. So be it. That's fine. That's fine. I love it. What else we got? Anything else on the tricks? Kennedy Clark
I just seen Charles Barkley there.
as the bailiff. I mean,
Terrible.
You big dummy. This gloves don't
Stupid
fit.
head.
Kennedy Clark doing her shit. She looks like an absolute dude.
Oh, yeah.
There is dudes out there that look less feminine than she does. I just want to point
there's
that
some
out.
chicks. There's some chicks in the WNBA that it's like you need to show me.
Side note here, too, I also found out today that, and I think this is a huge mistake for the WNBA brand, if you want to give it a brand. The WNBA went ahead, they have the USA Olympics are going to be in Paris this year. Caitlin Clark is not on the USA roster. How the fuck does that happen?
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'd make Kennedy Clark and Angel Reese and...
So...
Go ahead.
Now that she's not on that team, let's see if there's how these other players that are so-called making the sport more watchable do when it comes to who watches women's basketball in the Olympics.
How is it possible? I don't know this. NBC, Bob Costas used to host the Olympics all the time.
It's probably because she's straight.
Okay.
I'd almost put money on that.
Right. Well, I mean, they are going to be in Paris, so anything goes there. You can just see, like, fornication, baguettes, bicycles, cafes. Just a lot of shit going on there. This is a visual for you.
Hunter Biden doing meth in the corner.
I just think it's going back to NBC if they're covering, which I'd have to look this up. Usually they cover the Olympics.
Yeah.
I think it's a real fuck up on NBC not trying to strong arm the women's USA basketball team and not putting Caitlin Clark on there.
I don't think the NBC gives a fuck about women's basketball.
Well, okay, all right, fair enough. I mean,
was that ever televised?
Kind of been tailed off for a while.
Well, I mean, was that ever televised? Women's basketball?
No, I don't remember. I mean, it's
So nothing's going to change in that aspect. I bet it's not televised again.
It was not going to be without Caitlin Clark on there. But I'm just saying, if you're NBC, wouldn't you have to go to them and say, "Hey, we demand we have the coverage. We demand that you're putting Caitlin Clark on that team."
Well, they're probably just not going to do any women's basketball.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to get more eyes watching men's wrestling. Or fucking powerlifting.
Are they having flag football? Isn't that going to be an Olympic sport?
Is it this year?
Is it this year or is it coming up?
I think it is this year, yeah.
Right.
I mean, flag football will destroy it. I know it. I don't even know who's going to be playing in it.
Well, that's a great point because, I mean, if it was anything like the women's NFL with the bikini tops,
lingerie league.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's what the NFL should be subsidizing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
We used to be a country.
You got anything else you want to include?
Did we get everything?
I don't know. Unless we have some other crying Jordans you want to go ahead and put up there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Kennedy Carter is radio down there on the bottom left.
I ain't answering.
That's her at the press conference. I ain't
Yeah.
answering no questions about
So
this game
stupid.
tonight.
Yeah, I'm not answering any questions on why I trucked some bitch into the floor.
Right.
For no reason.
Sure.
Yeah.
At the
Dude,
fact-
if Draymond Green did that, that would be on ESPN for the next fucking week.
I also watched this one, too. I can't remember what game this was, but there was one where there was a foul shooter on another team. They were playing the Indiana Fever. The girl hits a foul shot. She immediately goes in between shots 1 and 2 and goes up in Caitlin Clark's face.
Yeah.
It's a fucking foul shot.
Right.
You practice these how many times a day? Well, I don't know, but you should be practicing these. It's not like you were up in her grill. I mean, if she came off of the foul line and went over to Caitlin Clark on the side, or on side defense, and just got up in her face. Hey, I made a foul shot.
Right. Well, I mean, we've talked about this before. I think the only lasting impact that you're going to have in viewership for the WNBA is if they just drop the fucking rim to 9 foot so these bitches can dunk.
Right. That's fine. That's fine.
I mean, I don't understand why this isn't just being talked about more frequently. Mm-hmm. You want to have people watch, have them start dunking. There's 3 people in the WNBA that can dunk?
Yeah.
And it never happens?
Right. Well, it used to be what? I don't remember they made a big deal about one of them dunking at one point. I'm like, great. But she was like all underneath the rim, and
Yeah,
like the closest
she's like
defender was
6'6".
10 feet away. All right, whatever.
But yeah. What up, Alex? If you could hit that like and share, we'd love that. Appreciate that's a lot. But I think that's the last CJ we have.
All right.
Anybody watching on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, obviously, we do these Crying Jordans every week. If you want to have some fan submitted ones up,
Sure.
please send it to us in any inbox, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or here on TikTok. We will get those on next week's episode.
Yep, and send us a message on TikTok if you want to with that. Any poll questions you may want to have us put up, or any sports topics you want us to deep dive on a little bit, go ahead and do it. We like it. We like it. Please go ahead and share our live if you would. And like you said, and subscribe on all platforms. So
Really appreciate it.
Yep. Anything else you want to include?
Nope. I will say this. I think we're going to be doing kind of a rewatchable on the Dynasty, the Patriots documentary.
Yeah. Over on Apple TV, not to give them a plug.
Yeah, but I think that'll be something awesome to review as the NBA's season is closing. We're pretty much just going to have baseball for the next couple months.
Right. And the WNBA. Don't forget about that.
I don't.
In the Olympics.
I don't even.
Thank God for the Olympics.
Well, I don't even know when their finals is. So,
doesn't matter.
Right. So I think that'll be kind of cool. We'll probably do 2 or 3 episodes at a time, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Kind of build it in. So if you
couple
guys
times, and we'll try to draw some clips from that. Anybody that's out there, go ahead and watch those if you have access to it.
Yep.
And then you can kind of follow along with us. Yeah, there's 10 episodes. Yeah, I think we should do like two at a time.
Yeah.
Let's
do
go
5
and
or
do
6. 5 or 6.
Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, we're usually live on Fridays. Sometimes we do it on Saturdays, depending on our schedules. But
sure.
Yeah, if you guys hit that like, share, and subscribe to the channel, it'll be freaking awesome.
Fucking awesome.
Freaking awesome. And we're soon we'll have our merch.
Yep.
These
already
shirts.
actually have that over on the TikTok shop now.
Is it on the shop?
Yeah.
Okay, so
you
can
can
order
do that. Yep.
Order those. We have some sponsorships coming here soon as well.
Yep.
So
$25 for a RawDawgers Sportscast shirt, and we're gonna try to do some cross promotional deals with some other TikTok shop sellers. We're hoping to get that up and rolling. I already have one. I'm actually already wearing one right now. It's a QR shirt. But I'm working with a gentleman right now that is fantastic. He's actually, his TikTok shop is g.spot.apparel. Love it. That right there drew me in.
the G Spot.
G Spot Apparel.
Nothing like a well-placed thumb.
Yes. All right. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it, brother.
All right, man. All right. RawDawgers out.